Hey, Nickie Brown here. No matter where you are and no matter what part of the world you're in, I hope that you're having a good day. So I recorded a similar video yesterday, but I think I accidentally showed my address in the video, so I didn't post it. So I'm kind of re-recording the same video. Hopefully I'm able to touch on some of the same points. But I was basically talking about the video I posted about my shoes. And that was the previous video. So you can just go ahead and look in the videos to see what I'm referring to. I've always been a trendsetter, right? And I remember when I was in high school, I went to two different high schools. The first high school I went to was in a more suburban area at that time. And I was actually living with my grandmother at the time, but because I didn't have a lot of freedom, because previously my mom lived there with us, but she moved out and moved to a more urban area. So once I realized how easy it was to cut class, I started doing that because that was the only way I would really have freedom. Like, I wasn't really allowed to go and hang out with the other kids very often, or do things that teenagers, do. Movies, the park, whatever. So I would cut class so that I could have some type of freedom. And usually when I cut class, and it was four of us, so when we cut class, usually it was after lunch. And my lunch was 6th period, and my 7th period class was algebra. So I went from being really good to algebra to sucking at algebra because I would always cut class. And we would go to, there was like a deli nearby. I can't remember the name of it. I feel like it started with a B. But anyway, there was a deli nearby. There was a McDonald's. Or sometimes we would just go home. There was even an ice cream parlor nearby. So sometimes we would walk to get ice cream. And sometimes we would come back, but sometimes we wouldn't. Because I think it was like 7th, 8th, and then 9th period. And then the day was over. Sometimes we would hang out in study hall, crack jokes, whatever the case may be. But sometimes we would even go shopping. We would even go to the movies, whatever it is that we felt like doing that particular day. And like I said, I pretty much got like, I think except for like gym, which was like one of my early periods, and I liked it. And I think I got an A in that, and maybe health. And then everything else was like a D or a F. So my mom made me move with her to the urban area that I lived in. So I'm the new girl, the new girl. Guys have a tendency to, hit on the new girl, like be attracted to the new girl and want to talk to the new girl. And, then you have girls who have a tendency to be jealous. They'll call you names, spread rumors, the mean girl type, because they don't like the fact that the boys like you. And then you have some, of course, that, want to be your friend, whether it's for good intentions or not so good intentions, right? Just so happened, again, the school that I moved back to is where I was born, and I lived there until I was 9. So from like 9 to 16, I lived in a suburban area. Then I moved back to the urban area, and it was very different. The curriculum was different. Driver's ed, you had to wait an additional year, whereas it was just kind of, it was very different. Anyway, remember going to the village one day, and if I'm not mistaken, I went to the village with my mom and one of her friends. And if you know what the village is, it's in New York City. So we went to the village, and I saw a pair of square-toed shoes. And I was like, I have to have those shoes. So I wear the shoes to school, and people started telling jokes like, oh, it looks like you could kill roaches in the corner. They look like pilgrim shoes. They're ugly, blah, 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 blah. Right? And I didn't care what people said. You know, I've pretty much always been that way, even as a child. I remember one time we had a family reunion, and we had like a talent show, and the kids, they were like dancing provocatively and, you know, doing fresh speed trap ahead. Things that I would consider to be fresh, or that I was told at that time were fresh, right? And so I didn't want to be fresh. So I did like a meme skit, right? And I pretended to catch a butterfly. And nobody really understood what I was doing, because I wasn't shaking my ass all over the place and being fresh. And so one of my cousins, she kind of just ushered, and she was an older cousin, so she just kind of ushered me off the stage. And then I saw her do like this, like she's crazy. And I never forgot that, right? But again, I never forgot it, but at the same time, I didn't care that she was going, like, trying to call me crazy. I felt like they were crazy because they didn't understand what I was trying to do. Like, how do you not understand, you know, or even attempt to wrap your brain around it? From my perspective as a child, I was like, what do you mean you don't understand? Like, of course I didn't say anything, but again, in my mind, I'm like, how could you not understand, or even try to understand? And they call me crazy because you don't understand. So anyway, I didn't really care about their opinion. And again, you know, they were already kind of saying negative things about me because I was a new girl and a lot of boys like me, and whatever the case may be. So, I still wore my shoes. I wore my shoes like every day, almost every day. And, like the following week, I started seeing people wear the shoes, right? Some of the same people who teased me and said they were ugly end up buying a pair of shoes similar to what I was wearing. And more, you saw more people wearing those shoes. And it was funny. So I've always been a trendsetter in that way. Like even here more recently, in 2009, when I decided to go to wear my natural hair and embrace my natural texture, a lot of my other friends that were around me at that time did the same thing, which it was good to see, you know, people embracing their natural texture, wanting to be healthier and not, you know, put the chemicals in. And, you know, some, you know, decided to keep their hair short. Some have grown their hair out. Some have gotten dreadlocks. It's great to see. So, what do they say? Imitation is the highest form of flattery. And not that I do it for recognition or any of those things. Like, I'm just doing me, right? And people like the things that I do. I'm just being Nickie Brown, and it's the Nickie Brown effect, right? So, as much as people criticize and snub their nose up at some of the things that I do or say, I find them doing those same things, or saying some of the same things that I've said, whether they admit it or not. So it's funny. And the reason I'm saying that is because I can see other people wanting to have shoes similar to the ones that I've had on. I get a lot of compliments on those shoes. And again, I like being a trendsetter. I know that met a lot of people who, you know, they had different thought processes and different beliefs. And I would, you know, sometimes I just drop jewels. And some people pick them up and some people leave them on the ground, you know. So for those who pick them up, you know, they see transformations happen in their life a lot of times. Because we were taught to just think one way and do things a certain way. And we end up following the beliefs of other people. And some of those other people don't serve a good purpose in our lives, so we should not be following them. Yet we do. And it doesn't matter how much money somebody has. What's their character like? What, you know, do they have anything to really and truly offer you? Do they have your best interest at heart? Those are the things that are really important. And so that is what I have to offer you. You know, the Nickie Brown effect. And again, this is not coming from a braggy place or anything like that. I'm thankful that people, whether it's, you know, even if it is in secret or in private, again, a lot of times I just see the changed behavior. But I do have people sometimes that will call and say, thank you for saying this, or thank you for doing that. And it makes me feel good. Like, even one of the young ladies at work the other day, she was like, Miss Nickie, I need your help. You know, I enjoy giving people advice. I enjoy sharing my wisdom with people. And a lot of times I'm like, why am I in this position? Why am I in this place? But I know that I'm in a lot of positions or places sometimes to help other people. It's not about me, right? I can't think about myself sometimes. Although sometimes I do. But I have to remember that a lot of times I'm put in certain situations because I'm there to help other people. And again, I enjoy helping people. And, you know, I'm glad that I'm able to help people. I'm glad that I have the knowledge that I have. I'm glad that I am open, ready, willing, and able to share. So that's what it is. But anyway, as always, I love y'all. I hope that this was helpful. Gave you some more insight. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always put them down below in the comment section. I'm gonna go back and watch that other video just to make sure I didn't leave anything out. But I think I touched on everything and kind of added a few things. Anyway, love y'all. Later.